of a power. Alright, so let's look at what a power of a power is. A power of a power is where our exponents will be multiplying against each other. So it can be used as two repeated multiplication expressions just as below. Okay, so 4 to the third power is the same thing as saying 4 times 3, which is 4 to the sixth power. Or 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. I know, that can be a mouthful. So let's look at a few more examples. As we can see, we did 4 squared to the third power. We have 6 to the fourth to the second power. And then we have 3 to the fourth power as well. All right, and we multiply those exponents. All right. This is the power of power rule. It's also located on your reference chart. Let's look at our first example. So in our first example, I'm going to just draw like a line here to separate these two just to make it a little bit easier. We're going to do the left side as the red side. And so what's happening here, I want you to think about this as like you and your siblings are getting a cookie from your mom. When we're getting something from our mom, it's called the distributive property, meaning she's giving something to each of us equally. So this first number will be squared. So we have 3 squared. Then the rule says that we learned right now about the power rules is that where our exponent has to be multiplied by the amount that it's being powered to. So that will be a is 1 times the 2. So then that means our b squared is also going to be multiplied by 2. So the same way our exponent, it tells us how many times we're multiplying, just like in that last example. So that's, in other words, we're really saying 3 times 3 or 9. If we multiply 1 times 2, that gives us a squared. And if we multiply 2 times 2, that gives us b to the power of 4. All right, we're finished the left side. Let's go ahead and go to the right side. So the same thing, we have to use the distributive property here of this power. So we have 2 to the third power. Then we have a 3 times 3. And then we're going to have b 1 times 3. Why? Because there's no number right here next to this b. So it's just an invisible 1. So 2 to the third power, just like 3 to the second power, is telling us how many times to multiply. So it's saying 2 times 2 times 2, which will give us 8. 3 times 3 will give us 9. And 1 times 3 is going to give us 3. Now we can do our final answer. We're first going to start with our constants. And 9 times 8 is 72. Next, we're going to add our exponents because there's no power or exponent in the parentheses to separate. So 2 plus 9 is 11. And then last but not least, 4 plus 3 equals 7. Let's look at the next example. We're going to separate the two just like we did before. It kind of makes it easier. And we're going to do the left side first. So because this negative 3 is not in the parentheses, we're going to leave it alone. But this b to the third power is going to have to be multiplied by 2. So on this side, we're already done. We'll have negative 3 b to the power of 6. Let's do the right side. The right side, we have a negative 2, and it will be squared. And then we'll have a b 4 times 2. Okay, so negative 2 squared is the same thing as saying negative 2 times negative 2. And anytime I have a negative and a negative, it's going to give me a positive. So it's going to give me a positive 4. 4 times 2, however, is going to give me an 8. And now we can do our final product. Negative 3 and positive 4 will create a negative 12. And b to the 6th and b to the 8th is going to make b to the 14th power. We are now done with this example. Let's look at two more. Okay, so this is actually easier than it looks. We have x 3/7, and according to our rule, we have to multiply this by 2. Just like in elementary, we're going to multiply straight across, where our numerator would be 3 times 2, and that'll make 6, and 7 times 1, which will make 7. So if I properly rewrite this, it would be x to the power of 6, 7. One last example, and it'll be time for you to practice. Just like before, the 1/3 is not in the parentheses, so we're going to rewrite it. However, we have 6, and it's asking to be squared. We have x squared, but we have to multiply that by 2. And then we have y to the power of 1 that also needs to be multiplied by 2. So to simplify this, I have 1/3. Remember, 6 squared is 6 times 6, which would be 36. Then I have x to the power of 4 and y to the power of 2 after I multiply those. We can even simplify this 1/3 divided by times 36. So if I did that, remember if I multiplied across, I got 36 divided by 3. That's going to give me my final answer of 12. So then I have 12, x to the 4th, y squared. Luckily, on the right side, because there's no number out here, it's an invisible 1, I can just rewrite. So I got 2, x to the 3rd, y to the 4th. Now it's time for me to multiply the final product, and we are done with our lesson today. 12 times 2 makes 24. 4 plus 3 makes 7. And 2 plus 4 makes 6. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, because now you're going to practice the next 18 problems on your own. You will turn this in to your teacher whenever you're finished. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.